My name is Fady. I was 13 years old when this happened. I was coming home with my father from a friend's house. We lived between Scotland Way and Endeavour Way. The road from my friend's house to mine was windy and lined with thick trees. It was evening when we left, and my house wasn't far away. As we rounded a corner, I saw something out of the corner of my eye in the woods/ravine. Where we were walking in line, there was a lemon tree, and there I saw a fair-skinned girl whose entire body was pale white, and the clothes she was wearing were torn on one side, on the left. She was holding something strange in her hand that I still don't understand what it was. Also, her hands weren't the same. One hand was smaller, and the other was slightly larger, as if the fingers on that hand were a little thicker. Her hair was black and thick and hung down. From a distance, her eyes looked like dark, black spots. She was a little dusty and was looking at me and my father. Seeing this, I got very scared in the car. My mind was wondering what this girl was doing in this deep ravine. The girl wasn't that far down, she was close enough that people could be seen from the road. We both went home and didn't talk about it for years, and when we did, it turned out that we both kept seeing her outside the house where we lived. We were 3 family members living in a house, and my dad, mom, and I lived in a bungalow-style house. That girl would sometimes stand in our corridor, sometimes in the garden, and then I saw a ball suddenly appear in front of me. The ball was a little dirty with mud, and its color was light green. Then I saw the ball fly up and hit me on the head. I held my head for a moment. I wasn't seriously hurt, but it stung a little. Then I went inside and told my mom. My mom and I went outside to look for the ball, but we couldn't find it. Even today, I don't know where that ball came from. That girl still appears to us sometimes, but not as often anymore. She appears very rarely these days. And our family is going to move to Texas. I don't know if that girl will appear at our new house or not. To be honest, I still feel scared, like that girl is still around us. That's how I feel. Felt like she would come inside, but whenever I tell this story, tears well up in my eyes. I've experienced many paranormal things, but this one has stayed with me. I haven't been able to bring myself to find out what I saw, but honestly, if anyone has any ideas, I'd love to hear them. It's been 10 years, and I live in Texas now, so it doesn't bother me much anymore. I tried really hard for years to rationalize it as some kind of animal, but it was floating and had no discernible shape, just moved very fast. Tears welled up in my eyes as I typed this, LOL, but it felt good to write it down somewhere. If anything similar has happened to anyone else, I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much. In 1999, my parents bought a house in Florida, and we moved in. It was an old house, and other people had lived there before us. I heard that in the 1970s, a local family of 7 lived in that house, and it was said that they had all died there, one by one. Even the children were included, like a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. I couldn't believe how so many people had died in that house, or how my parents had bought it so cheaply. It was like a haunted house. I was born in 1991. And I lived there until we moved to another house on the other side of town in early 2010. During my childhood, I experienced many disturbing things, and as a result, I was very anxious. I felt like someone was watching me, following me, and reading my thoughts. I also felt like someone was listening to me when I spoke. Because of this, I was always scared and could never be alone. I was constantly running up and down the stairs, looking behind me and over my shoulder. It was so strange. Like a teddy bear, or a child's laughter, and it became a common thing. Sometimes I would watch MTV at night. I didn't actually have a TV in my bedroom, we all watched TV in the hall. But my dad had recently installed a big TV in the hall, so we could often watch TV at night. My dad's job shift time wasn't fixed. He would sometimes leave or sometimes come home, so he didn't interfere much in this matter. Then, suddenly, while watching TV, think about it properly, it was dark behind the TV. Only one light was on in our house, the one behind me, or it was a little dark behind the TV. As I was watching the show on TV, I felt like a hand was reaching out from behind the TV, and I saw a finger. My attention suddenly went there. I looked again, and I saw a round face, and its eyes were shining a little red. Still, I always looked carefully, but then I thought I should turn off, so I did. It was completely dark in the hall, so first I turned on the TV, and then, on the left side of the TV, my side, on the left, I didn't see anything, but still, I turned on all the lights in the hall and looked around the TV, and I didn't see anything. I went back again. As soon as I went there, my bedroom door was opened just like it had been opened before when he welcomed me, meaning the door was properly closed, and I was falling asleep on the bed. I heard some sounds from outside, like someone was crying in great pain again. I suddenly woke up and quickly went outside the bedroom. Then I saw that there was a wall, and something was written on the wall. It said, "Help me, help Father." Look at these strange words. I was very scared. It was written in black, and on the stairs. I thought I should tell Aki's mom and dad. I went with my mother, and this incident happened to me afterward. Sometimes, a person who lived there, a favorite of the house, would wander around, and there were ladies too, and the presentation of the women was going on in those days. They made me feel that way. One day we were all having dinner or just staring. I looked to one side, or my mom and dad saw that the chair next to me had tilted, or someone was sitting on it. They felt that way. Then I also saw the tissue paper moving. So is Tara, that whole family that bothers me. There were also visual and auditory phenomena occurring there. Often, out of the corner of my eye, I would see shadow-like figures darting across rooms and then disappearing. One night in the summer of 1998, I heard laughter emanating from the far corner of my room. It sounded like it was echoing and multiplying, then slowly fading away. In early 2003, I heard some 2 to 3 distressed voices calling my name, again in my bedroom. This activity was most prevalent on the upper floor, my bedroom, and in the back room of the basement. As I entered adolescence, it began to subside and eventually stopped. At the time, both my parents were devout evangelical Christians who firmly believed in the existence of spirits. Strangely, my father didn't take my claims seriously and dismissed them as a form of separation anxiety. Consequently, he took no action on my behalf. Looking back, he should have taken me to a therapist, to determine if it was just a figment of my imagination, and if so, why my mind was doing this. A terrifying camping trip in the jungle. It was 1999, and I was on vacation with my dog, whose name was Jassy. I worked on a cargo ship and had come home for my vacation. I live alone with my dog. I'm divorced. While I was away, a caretaker looked after my dog, but he was on leave when I got home. One day, I decided to go camping in the jungle for a day or two. I love camping in the jungle. And it had been a long-held wish of mine to camp alone in the jungle with my dog. So I made all the preparations and set off. It was a beautiful day, the sky was blue. A few kilometers from my house was a dense jungle. I won't mention its name because it's known to be haunted. I packed all my gear into my van and set off with my dog. After a few hours, I arrived. I parked the car near a tree and started walking into the jungle, with my bag slung over my shoulder. Jassy and I were walking deeper into the dense jungle when I spotted a large clearing. It was quite peaceful there, and I could hear the sounds of birds, as if they were welcoming me. Then I gathered some firewood to burn around my campsite at night and also to protect the area. I took out my nylon tent from my bag and set it up properly. I didn't bring a video camera, but I had my DSLR. After setting up the camp, I was very hungry. I started cooking noodles, and I had also brought some meat for Jassy. I started cooking the meat. After eating, I sat in a chair and relaxed for a while. As it started to get dark, the sounds of birds and other animals began to come in a very frightening way. I felt a little scared. I was feeling scared, then I thought I should get ready to go to sleep in the camp. So I went to where the fire was burning, ate something there, and then Jessie and I went to the camp and fell asleep. I was just drifting off to sleep when suddenly I woke up to someone's frightened voice. I had never heard such a terrifying sound before. It sounded like a girl in great pain, crying out, "Help me, please, somebody, anyone there. Help me." She was screaming loudly. Hearing this, my dog, Jessie, also woke up, his ears perked up, and I was quite scared too. Then I looked out of the tent and went outside to investigate because the sound was coming from a little distance away. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind blew, and I shivered. Then, out of fear, I closed the tent and locked myself inside. I was very scared. I wondered who this woman was. Who was screaming so much? Jesse was looking around, turning his head from left to right inside the tent. Looking at him, I felt like someone was roaming around outside my tent because, as you know, dogs are very alert, they can hear even the slightest sound. After a while, the sound stopped. I could also hear animal sound, like wolves. If I listened carefully, I could even hear the sound of a lion. I tried to sleep, but the sounds had completely stopped. The fire I had lit outside had been extinguished by the wind. You won't believe it, but the jungle became so silent and still. I had never experienced such silence before. But I could still hear animal sounds from somewhere far away. After a while, I heard a sound like someone was dragging a stick on the fallen leaves on the ground in the jungle. Then I heard whispering sounds, as if several people were roaming around outside my tent. That wasn't all. A little later, someone pressed their hand against my tent. I saw someone's hand shape on the sheet of my nylon tent, and as I watched, the hand moved back, as if someone outside had pressed their hand against my tent and then pulled it away. You can understand what I'm trying to say. After a while, I started smelling cigarette smoke. My dog was growling a little, and I was trying to quiet him down. After some time, Everything became quiet. There was a sound of wood rubbing together, and that sound continued for about 1 to 2 minutes. All sorts of thoughts were running through my mind. Who could be outside? If I went out to look, someone could attack me or my dog. So I stayed in the tent, lost in thought. Then I gradually fell asleep, and suddenly it was morning. I must have slept for about 2 to 3 hours. But throughout the night, after that woman's voice, there were other small noises. I don't remember exactly when the noises stopped, but I fell asleep. So, friends, this morning I quickly packed all my things, got in my car, and came home. I kept thinking about what had happened to me that night. I had never had such an experience before. After that, I never went camping in the jungle at night again. That fear has stayed with me forever. What was it? What was that woman's voice? Who was she? Why was she screaming? I still don't understand. Currently, I'm at my job, away from home. Those things will always remain alive in my heart and mind.